focus is going to be on the grains and how amazing they are. Right? So let's say that they are amazing grains. I heard a song about that once. How did that go, Chef? Amazing grains. Okay. Alright, so a little bit about grains. Let's start off with wheat, right? Wheat, basically two kinds of wheat that we eat. Durum wheat and we have bread wheat. These are also broken out into what we call hard wheat or soft wheat or winter wheat or spring wheat, right? Durum wheat is that hard wheat. Generally it's a reddish color. This is the wheat that we use for pastas, things like that. It's very hard wheat, very high protein content as well. So it makes you can make pastas and breads, things like that. It's a lot sturdier. It's got higher protein content, which we know in wheat, glutinous of protein in wheat, which causes things to have their elasticity or their shape, right? Let's say winter wheat, or bread wheat, which is soft wheat, is used to make things like cake flour, right? The reason that that's softer is because it has a lower protein content, right? So let's say when you're making biscuits, you'll notice biscuits in the north are different than biscuits in the south, right? Biscuits in the south are generally a lot lighter and a lot fluffier. So that's because generally they're using cake flour, which has a lower protein content in it, which makes a lighter, fluffier product. In the north, we generally have much harder wheat, so higher protein content, so firmer, denser, more elastic type of products we have. So that's a little bit about the two basic kinds of wheat that we eat. I'll show you here, we've got a couple products here. One, bulgur wheat. So you guys, I'll set these out here so you guys can even maybe pass them around. We'll talk about bulgur wheat. And then I'll pass another thing around here so everybody else around wheat berries. Okay, so difference in these products. Wheat berries is basically a whole kernel or a whole wheat grain. As you can see, it's going to contains the bran, the endosperm, basically the whole grain. So that's the first time. Never mind that. What that's going to mean is that it's going to take longer to cook, right? It's going to require about twice the amount of liquid to make that soft, right? So wheat berries, you're generally going to go about a 4-to-1 ratio for liquid to wheat when you're doing wheat berries. The other end of the spectrum is bulgur wheat, which you guys are seeing that. Bulgur wheat is basically wheat that's been cooked, dried, and cracked, right? So basically, that means that it's already undergone a lot of the cooking process. It's going to require a lot less cooking time, right? Bulgur wheat can be soaked in hot liquid for 10 to 15 minutes, and it's pretty much ready to eat, meaning that it lends itself to be a great breakfast cereal. It's probably one of the first breakfast cereals known to people because it actually, requires a little time to prepare, and it's not very much liquid. Again, that one's going to be about a 1.5 to 1 ratio versus what we see in the wheat berries, right? So those are sort of the two ends of the spectrum there. You've got wheat berries and then you've got bulgur wheat. So let's move on to another one of the grains. We prepared some food for you guys tonight too. I'll go over those dishes here. I think it's a little intro to some of the grains I want to show you guys. Next, let's go with quinoa. Quinoa. Here, I'll start that down here. This is white quinoa. There's about 120 different varieties of quinoa. Quinoa is known as a super grain, right? The reason that quinoa is known as a super grain is because it contains one of the only non-animal-based forms of protein that offers a complete protein. That means, all your essential amino acids that a lot of grains and integrated proteins they don't contain all of them. So you got to do a lot of research when you're doing all plant-based diet, making sure that you're getting your complete set of proteins, all the amino acids. You got to be combining things like grains and things like that. But quinoa, you got it all there. So, a little bit of history about quinoa. You guys have this in your batch there. It comes from the Andes, right? Cultivated by the Incas. It's actually not even technically a grain, right? Since here that's more akin to Swiss chard and beans rather than sugar grain. However, they classify it that way because of its nutritional profiles. You know, it's more akin to a grain than it is to something like Swiss chard or beef or vegetable. Again, I mentioned there's 120 different varieties actually. You see them in many different colors too. Red, purple, black. What you're seeing is white quinoa. I have a dish that we prepared with red quinoa, which is basically the same thing, it's just containing the outer crust of the whole. So I've actually made two dishes. One showing the white quinoa and one showing the red quinoa as well. I'll explain those here in a minute. Next grain we'll talk about is amaranth. Sorry about that. Amaranth. Now, amaranth, again, very important to sort of Central American culture. As you can see here, this was cultivated right by the Aztecs, right? Until Cortez, Cortez the Killer, came in and tried to obviously decimate people in the native population. So what he did is he forbade anybody to grow amaranth as a way to control the culture and convert them into basically Spanish, right? What happened was the grain actually got smuggled out into Asia. It became revered for its nutritional qualities. Again, amaranth is another grain that has protein, very high glycine, which many other grains are deficient in that particular amino acid. So we've got a pretty cool addition that we did with the amaranth. This little take on a classical dish. We'll get to that in a minute. Another grain that we want to show you here, faro. Alright, so this one down here. So faro. Commonly known by its other name, amaranth, right? An ancient strain of wheat, right? One of the first cereals that were domesticated for a crescent, right? Basically, it's become very popular now in Italian cuisine, what's known as faro. They grind this down, they make flour out of it, they make high-quality pastas out of ground faro. They also use it as part of a post salad as well. So you're going to see that one. I'm using a different application here in made an Italian style soup out of that. So, questions so far? Questions about anything? Yeah, no? No questions so far. Maybe we'll get in. Yes? Bread flour? Question. Bread flour just means that it's going to have, it's better for you one because it has higher protein content. It's going to make a higher chewy bread, right? It's going to make, you want a bread that's oval shape, that's, chewy. Yes? Can you repeat the question? The question was, she uses bread flour when she makes bread. The question was, is it more or less nutritious than what? Is white unrich flour or bleach flour? Yeah. Again, like I said, bread flour has a higher protein content, so more gluten, right? So the way that the type of bread that a bread flour is going to make is going to be denser, more elastic, and that has to do with the elasticity created by the gluten. So it's definitely going to create a firmer, chewier structure in your bread, and something that's going to be very light, like a brioche or something like that. It's very soft and delicate bread. So, did that answer your question there? Perfect. Any other questions before we move on? Okay. So, next thing that we're going to do is talk a little bit about gluten-free, right? We mentioned that since this is a presentation about grains and wheat and whatnot, I think that it's important to note that there's actually a lot of grains that are gluten-free for those out there who have an intolerance to gluten or have celiac disease or anything like that. So any of you who have these things or would like all the benefits of eating grains, but cannot tolerate the gluten. Amaranth, one is a gluten-free grain. We got amaranth, buckwheat, corn, millet, oats, quinoa, rice, sorghum, teff, and wild rice. Which is actually a wild grass. Botanically, it's not even technically a rice. We'll be included in there again because it's how it goes in the nutritional profile. However, what you will see though is you have to be careful even if you have any tolerance. You will see that some of these products are processed in plants that also contain granular wheat. So, particularly oats. People use oats for breakfast cereal. We got to read the label and make sure that you're careful there. So that's a little bit about some gluten-free grains. The next thing I'd like to do is, we prepared some food for you guys. I'd like to go over a quick little menu. I came up with 4 dishes to show you guys using some of these grains here. And I want to show you guys things that, things all the way from breakfast all the way to dinner that you can incorporate these things. So the first thing that I did is I made a hot breakfast cereal using the white quinoa. Right? Basically, what I did here is I combined quinoa with some water, a little touch of salt. We bring that up to a boil. Turn it down to a simmer once it's under a boil, and then I floated a couple cinnamon sticks in there, and we finish it with a little bit of brown sugar. I then roasted some apples on the side, some walnuts, and I have a little bit of lemon and orange zest as well. So the idea here is treat this like a hot breakfast cereal, like a green wheat, like your oatmeal, something like that. But this is going to be obviously a lot healthier because, as we mentioned, quinoa being super green, having good protein. So this is really going to be a protein-packed breakfast cereal for you guys. So we're going to have that. It's going to be quinoa. We're going to have the roasted apples, walnuts, and citrus garnish for that as well. Next thing I wanted to do is show you guys a soup, right? So I decided to use the faro in this one because, as I mentioned, faro is very big in Italy, so I decided, hey, why don't we make an Italian style soup with this? So what I did is we cooked an aromatic vegetable base, carrot, celery, and onions. We call that mirepoix, right, in the kitchen, carrot, celery, and onion. We sweat down a little carrot, celery, and onion, a little bit of garlic, and then we add our water, our vegetable broth for that. We bring that up to the simmer. We go ahead and add the faro at that point. Then I had some white cannellini beans that we had soaked as well. The beans go in. And then I had some Swiss chard. And then you chop up the chard goes in at the end. As far as to add brightness to the dish, you chop up a little fresh parsley, a little fresh basil, and finish the soup that way as well. So basically what we have to soup for you guys is, again, very healthy, packed full of flavor, also packed full of nutrition. So carrot, celery, onion, garlic, cannellini beans, faro, basil, parsley. Next dish that we have for you guys is I want to show a side dish. What I do with this is I use the amaranth. And I decided to take the polenta approach to this. Are you guys familiar with polenta? Everybody eat polenta? Okay. So basically, polenta, it's very big in Italy as well. It's basically made from ground cornmeal. What they do is we bring a liquid to a boil, whether this is water, vegetable stock, chicken broth, whatever. We bring that to a boil and we gradually whisk in the cornmeal into it so it becomes like a porridge, right? This can either be finished with butter or cheese or fresh herbs or vegetables or whatever you want. And it can be served hot or loose like that, sort of like it's like a hot sort of corn porridge. Or it can be poured out to a container and cooled off, in which case it will set up and become firm. And then you can take that out, cut it into desired shapes, whatever you want. You can grill it, you can saute it. You can do it in other applications like that. So you've heard 2 ways people serve polenta. Grill polenta or saute polenta, or soft and creamy style, okay? That's the only difference between the two. One, you're just cooking it, serving it right away. The other one, you're pouring it out into a mold, cooling it, and then cutting it, and then cooking it a second time. So what I did is I took that same approach and used amaranth instead of cornmeal. So I also wanted to add a little bit more flavor to this too. So what we did is we used wild mushrooms. I have mushrooms, shallots, and garlic, and fresh thyme. So again, with this one, we roasted some mushrooms on the side with some shallots and garlic. We brought some vegetable broth to a boil, whisked in my amaranth, Cook that for, simmer that for about 10 to 12 minutes. Cooks very quickly. Folded in our vegetable, our roasted vegetable garnish into that. We're going to finish it with a little bit of fresh thyme, right? So that's a good side dish, especially for this time of year. Because it's, you know, it's hearty, it's warm, it's inviting, it's comfort food, right? Very, very, very Italian thing to do. The fourth dish that we decided to show is a main entree, right? A main dish. What I decided to do here is show the quinoa in its other form. So it's red quinoa, right? What I decided to do here too is keep it close to its origin. So quinoa we mentioned, you know, Central America. These are, you know, Inca, Aztec cultures that primarily survived on these types of grains. So what I did then is I said, why don't we make a stuffing out of it? So we took the red quinoa, cooked the quinoa in just a little bit of water, floated a couple bay leaves in there. Cooked some vegetable garnish on the side. Onions, zucchini, squash, corn, scallions, a little bit of walnuts. We then folded the quinoa in with the rest of the vegetable garnish. Took some poblano peppers. We roasted the poblano peppers, peeled them, cut them open, took the seeds out, and then we and stuffed them, right? After that, yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. So stuffed poblano, right? I'm sure you guys have seen stuffed poblano peppers before. A lot of times they'll do them with rice, shrimp, cheese, vegetables, and mixture like that. But we decided to go all vegan today with that. We omitted the cheese, added some walnuts to it, and it's going to be a nice little stuff. We took the peppers, roasted those, stuffed those, and getting a nice little roasted chipotle sauce served over top of that as well. So again, keeping with the theme of the region and the flavors there. So basically at this point what we're going to do is we're going to start putting some of this stuff up for you guys. You guys can go ahead and come up here and taste and talk and ask questions. At this point, does anybody have any questions so far about what we're going to do? Yes? Tef. Tef? That was the question? Yeah. Not familiar. Why with Tef? I wouldn't say that I was extensively familiar with Tef. A lot of these ancient grains, they don't get a lot of attention, really, in restaurants these days. You're seeing a big resurgence of these things coming back now, as of recently. You know, they're generally not available at the grocery stores that we shop at. You know, obviously, if you live in Bowling Green, your two grocery stores are primarily Live or Kroger, which are having, you know, have very limited availability as far as bulk cereals and bulk grains go. You know, those must have the opportunity to listen to Whole Foods or something like that. Obviously, have a lot more access to things like that. But Tef is another one of those grains that, again, it doesn't see much attention. When my wife went to a culinary school, we lived out in Colorado, we lived in Boulder for a while. Boulder obviously is a very progressive, liberal town, so a lot of natural food cookery going on, a lot of vegetarians and vegans and that things going on. So the culinary school that my wife went to was actually a vegan vegetarian culinary school. So at this time, when I was looking at a restaurant, I didn't have much experience with vegan or vegetarian cuisine, other than, you know, if you want a garden burger. That was pretty much, you know, back then, that was like the typical restaurant response to, hey, I want a vegetarian meal, you know. So that, in a way, opened my eyes to a lot of those things. I can remember actually, her graduation dinner, she had a squash and millet. Millet is another one of those grains. Typically, Americans don't really eat it. You know, we put it in bird feeders. But, you know, it's very big in Asia. You know, actually India consumes a lot of millet per capita compared to the United States. She made this squash and millet cake. They had a fennel sauce over it, and sometimes we were presented the garnish goes with that. But again, that was like one of my first introductions. I had cooked for a living, you know, for at that point probably 8 years. You know, cooking for a paycheck. I had no idea what some of these things even were. So it just goes to show you that even those involved in food food service industry don't really give grains like that much attention. But I definitely think that, that it's worth looking into. And that's one reason, basically why we're doing this tonight, is to show you guys, or introduce you guys to a few things that you don't normally see, and applications that you don't normally see, to provide you guys some information here. So that that way you can make educated decisions when you are at someplace like a Whole Foods or something like that that actually has these things available in bulk for you to buy. Zach, is that clear? Injera, yeah, exactly. That's actually what I think to mention that. Well, yeah, definitely. Ethiopian food, one of my favorite cuisines. That's a staple. It's mostly served family style. People eat around. You have most of your foods in a center plate, and it's all served with a side of injera, which is basically the tech, and it's this soft, spongy bread that's very porous. You'll see that's got holes all over it. And parts of the bread are just torn off and used to take from the center plate. Ethiopian style food. Yes, that's actually a great point. So if you guys haven't had Ethiopian food, go have Ethiopian food. It's absolutely delicious. And you'll notice too that bread, injera bread, is made from teff. It has a very, very unique texture. Like I said, unique appearance and a very unique texture. It's very spongy, but delicious. Yes?
It also doesn't have a lot of flavor. Is the teff the grain flavor?
Typically grains, in general, when we say flavor, we would condition, our palates, our modern palates are really conditioned for overabundance of flavor. Super packed, super concentrated things that, our ancestors, wouldn't be able to handle. So generally when we say, for us, a lot of Americans would say most grains don't have a lot of flavor. If they do, they're whole grains. We still have, maybe the grain, the endosperm, everything's still intact. It generally has a nutty flavor or something like that. Some things have mild suggestions of pepperiness or something like that as well. But in general, grains are fairly neutral. So they lend themselves well to a variety of cuisines, which is culinarily, that's the advantage of these things, because you can see that you can go African style with Ethiopian, you can go Mediterranean, Italian style with it, you can go Central American style with it as well, some of the things here tonight. So that's the one great thing about how they're sort of mild and neutral flavors, that they lend themselves so well to cuisines from all over the world. Yeah, that is your question there? Perfect. Did you have another question? Well, I'm not sure. In the very back of the store, I think that's where the bins are. It's a great shop. Meyer, Wrigley, do they have any of these things? Yes, they have quinoa. They have quinoa. So some of the more obscure ones you probably not will be able to find. Obviously, bulgur wheat you probably find, quinoa you'll find. Some of the other ones, some of the wheat-based ones you're going to find, like couscous or Israeli couscous. Actually, I was going to show you guys the Israeli couscous as well. It's one of my favorite wheat-based products. However, we served it the other day and actually ran out of it, so I'm still waiting on more of it to come in. But I would encourage you guys to check out Israeli couscous. Those of you familiar with Moroccan-style couscous, which is a very fine, granular couscous. This one is actually, it's a large pearl pasta. Basically, it's pasta in the shape of like tiny little balls, right? So, my kids absolutely adore it because it's fun for them to eat. It's got a great texture to it. And again, that one, it's fun to eat. So, look for Israeli couscous actually at Meyer. I know they carry that as well. But whether you're going to find millet there, you'll probably have to look in the pan. In the bird section, I'm sure they're not going to have that spelt. Maybe not, but they're going to have things like oats, rye, wild rice, bulgur wheat, couscous, Israeli couscous, things like that. Yeah. So, good. Are you guys ready to eat? Yeah? Okay. Alright, so what we have up here again, this first dish here, this is what I talked about here. This is the Quinoa Bean Farro Soup with Swiss chard, basil, and parsley. This right here, we've got, this is our Amaranth polenta with roasted mushrooms, shallots, and garlic, and fresh thyme. We've got here, these are our red quinoa and corn stuffed roasted poblano peppers. I got a sauce here I'll put out here on the side too. Disclaimer for those who are hardcore vegans. The sauce, the chipotle sauce I have here, has a little bit of honey in it. So if you're averse to eating honey or you're against that, you don't put the sauce on top. But it has a little bit of honey in it as well. And it's also, it's fairly spicy as well. So go sparingly with the sauce over top of our stuffed poblano here. But it's meant to accentuate a little bit of heat to that real earthiness that you're going to experience here with the red quinoa. And then I'm going to put out our hot cereal. We're going to put out our hot cereal here with our roasted apples, walnuts, and our citrus garnish here. So, if you guys have any questions, you can come up and talk with me. I'll explain the food to you guys in more detail if you need to. Other than that, thank you for coming out, and hope you guys enjoy the food. And we'll see you next time. Do you already have anything?